Tonight on The National, Balsillie's power play. The Blackberry billionaire stick handles around the NHL's defense. Can the league stop him from netting another team for Canada?
This is an attempt to circumvent league rules.
Pork warning. Is it safe or not to eat pork these days? The World Health Organization may have muddied the waters. The Dalla affair. Did Liberal MP Ruby Dalla mistreat immigrant caregivers? And spy versus spy. Canada retaliates after Russia kicks out 2 Canadian diplomats.
The National. Here is Peter Mansbridge.
Good evening. He shoots, but will he score an NHL franchise? Jim Balsillie's offer to buy up the bankrupt Phoenix Coyotes is the talk of the country today. From hockey fans to the Prime Minister himself, people want to know if the one-time Canadian team could return to home ice. The CBC's Tom Harrington has our top story.
Imagine Wayne Gretzky coaching an NHL team near his hometown of Brantford. A dream come true for hockey fans in Southern Ontario.
Puck, rebound, score!
And for Hamilton in particular. Just 2 years ago, the city seemed on the verge of seeing the Nashville Predators playing at Copps Coliseum, thanks to Jim Balsillie.
We had a previous an agreement with Mr. Balsillie in terms of the use of that facility and other facilities in the downtown of Hamilton.
This is an enormously exciting opportunity.
Balsillie, the billionaire boss of Research in Motion, has made a formal offer of $212 million US for the Phoenix Coyotes, on the condition that he can move the club to Southern Ontario. The country's #1 fan weighed in from Europe. Prime Minister Stephen Harper told reporters, "I'd love another NHL team in Canada, particularly Southern Ontario could support another team. I have even mentioned to a couple of NHL owners I think Southern Ontario is ripe to support more than one NHL team." Whether that happens starts to unfold tomorrow in a Phoenix court. A judge will be asked to order an auction to seek higher bids for the team. That auction could be done by the end of June. The league is now operating the bankrupt team and will fight to keep it in Arizona.
This is an attempt to circumvent league rules. Somebody, and you'll have to ask the people who were involved in doing it, devised a strategy which somehow they think might entitle them to do something they might not otherwise be entitled to do.
What Beppen is talking about can be found buried in hundreds of pages of court documents. If Balsillie wins, the NHL says it must still approve the sale and the transfer of the franchise. But Balsillie is using American law to negate the NHL's contract to run the franchise. That would allow him to buy it, lock, stock, and barrel, and move it without league approval. Peter Farkas has handled the bankruptcies of professional sports teams and large corporations.
He will get an order, a vesting order from the U.S. court that will deliver all the assets of the Coyotes free and clear of any restrictions or liens of the banks, including the NHL.
Ontario's premier and Toronto's mayor are both saying yes to another NHL team in these parts. Tens of thousands of Canadians have signed on to Jim Balsillie's website. But when Gary Bettman was asked if the Coyotes would be playing in Canada this fall, his answer was no. Tom Harrington, CBC News, Toronto.
As you heard, Balsillie's bid to rescue the Coyotes is conditional, only if the endangered team would move back to a hockey-friendly climate north of the border. So how do Canadians feel about that? CBC's Michael Dick found out.
Hockey fans in Hamilton have been down this road before, only to have their hearts broken. But this time, they've got a good feeling.
My fiance and I have been kind of following that since he tried to do it the last time. When we thought it was coming to Hamilton, we thought it was a really great idea.
If we got a hockey team, it would be great for the city, for Canada also.
Hamilton, the likely choice. But in this fan frenzy, everyone is thinking about the possibilities. Just north of Toronto, in the city of Vaughan, there are already plans for a new arena, and there's a growing population eager to fill those seats. Some are already thinking the Vaughan Coyotes has a nice ring to it.
It's too expensive to see the Leafs. Buffalo, it's an hour-and-a-half drive, and another option here in the town would be great.
It's going to make a good rivalry between Toronto and Vaughan.
But what about that other team, the Toronto Maple Leafs? Is there room for two here?
I think this business about the the Toronto Maple Leafs hogging the whole territory here is just not right, and it's time to change.
I think that another team actually would be a little bit better. You'd have more of that kind of blue-collar fans.
While the thought of another NHL team is exciting for people in Southern Ontario, for fans of the Winnipeg Jets who left the city more than a decade ago for Phoenix, this Southern Ontario hockey sweepstakes opens up old wounds.
Winnipeg is starting to get bigger, and there's a lot of bigger things going on, and I think it would be better to have them here.
I think that we have a better fan base here. Like, we would probably sell out of more games than we would in Hamilton.
It's clear wherever the puck may drop in Canada, there's plenty of fan support. Now it's just a matter of getting the NHL on side. Michael Dick, CBC News, Toronto.